Hello, good evening and welcome to Hot Edition on 92.73 FM. We are live around the world on 3news.com. That's our website. And also streaming on our Facebook page. Coming up this evening, police investigators interrogate Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Antwi Boasiako, also known as Chairman Wontumi, as he turns himself in following a botched attempt to arrest him at his Kumasi residence last Friday. We'll be live at the CID headquarters for the latest regarding this matter. Also coming up, former board chairman of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund granted bail in the sum of 10 million Ghana cedis with 2 sureties to be justified with landed properties cited in Accra. We'll bring you details on how things panned out earlier in court today. And later in the bulletin, we do know that Ghana's mission in Washington, D.C. temporarily closed down over multi-million-dollar fraud that has been ongoing for the last 5 years involving embassy staff. But the minority has described the move as hasty and undiplomatic. We have details of all these and more. I am Martin Asiedu-Darteh. Before the details, though, let's bring you a summary of our big stories this evening. And Crystal is here with those summaries. Hello.
Hi, Martin. Thank you very much. And in tonight's summaries, President John Dramani Mahama has said the plans to reintroduce road tolls in Ghana through a fully digital system will do away with physical toll booths and manual collection. Rather, vehicle owners and drivers would be billed automatically via their mobile money wallets or bank accounts using data linked to their Ghana cards. President Mahama said this while addressing participants at the 9th Ghana CEO Summit in Accra on Monday, May 26, 2025. Meanwhile, former Member of Parliament for Sin Central, Kennedy Japong, has stepped forward as a surety for Professor Christopher Ameyaw-Ekumfi in the ongoing SkyTrain trial involving a $2 million financial loss to the state. Professor Ameyaw-Ekumfi, a former board chairman of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, was granted 10 million Ghana cedi bail with 2 sureties to be justified after pleading not guilty to 4 charges, including willfully causing financial loss to the state and the intentional dissipation of public funds. Now let's turn our attention to the Ashanti region, and the Kumasi High Court has acquitted and discharged Alexander Kwabena Adu Boahene, President Akufo-Addo's 2021 nominee for Joabeng Municipal Chief Executive in the Ashanti region. Mr. Adu Boahene was seen in a viral video allegedly demanding the return of monies he reportedly paid to assembly members to secure confirmation of his nomination. The Office of the Special Prosecutor subsequently charged him with 26 counts of corruption in relation to a public election since May 2022. Throughout the trial, the prosecution presented evidence, including witness testimonies, to substantiate the charges. Meanwhile, the defense team vigorously challenged the allegations, while Adu Boahene maintained his innocence. And finally, in energy-related governance, the government of Ghana has approved a strategic exemption of electricity bills for selected state institutions following a cabinet decision chaired by President John Dramani Mahama. The initiative, announced by the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Dr. John Abdullahi Jinapor, is aimed at ensuring uninterrupted service delivery in critical areas, including security, health, and education. According to the minister, the exemptions apply strictly to core operational facilities within these ministries and do not extend to auxiliary or non-essential units. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Success Trevor, with the summaries of our big stories that we have for you tonight. We're delving straight into the specifics, and we are starting from the big news having to do with the chairman, Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Antwi Boasiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, who turned himself in to the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, for questioning following a failed attempt by national security operatives last Friday. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the party is currently meeting with investigators at the CID headquarters after his lawyers negotiated his voluntary appearance. The botched arrest sparked outrage, with the NPP supporters massing up at Wontumi's Kumasi residents to protect the heavy security presence. While the exact reason for the police interest remains unclear, sources suspect it may be linked to alleged illegal mining activities by his firm Akunta Mining in the Tano Nimrim Forest Reserve. Let's speak to our correspondent who's following this story for us, Beatrice Na Ajoko, who is currently on the beat and stationed around the CID headquarters. Beatrice, good evening. Thank you for joining us. First of all, is Chairman Wontumi still within the premises of the Ghana Police, the CID?
All right, good evening. I can confirm that Bernard Antwi, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, has presented himself in the police investigative body, and he is currently being interrogated. He arrived at the CID office around 11 a.m. this morning in the company of his lawyers, led by the former Attorney General, Godfred Dame. And as of 2 p.m. this afternoon, we understand that he has not been charged yet. And as to what the charges are, I can't tell, but we are currently following the issues. And as of when we get further information, we will keep the listeners updated.
So from where you stand and from all your checks, I mean, we know that you went there earlier today to follow this story for us. And from where you speak from, you are confirming that Chairman Wontumi is still with the police service. Is that it?
Yes, he is presently at the CID office and he is being interrogated. Yes.
Have you seen party people gather around the CID headquarters beyond the executives and former Attorney General that went into the offices with him? Have you seen party people massing up there?
Okay, I've seen the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, and I think the PR has also been present. They've been going and coming. They've been going back and forth and being with him all through the process.
All right, Beatrice, thank you for that succinct update. Beatrice Na Ajoko is our reporter who's following the case for us. And the case you would know is that the NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman Wontumi is currently with the police CID with his lawyers and some party supporters. We are told that he's currently being interrogated. We are uncertain as to the specific reason why the Ghana Police Service want Chairman Wontumi, following the fact that last Friday there was an attempt to search his house and then also arrest him or pick him up. But from information his lawyer gave us, he had an agreement with the security agencies or operatives that had come there to his house, and the agreement was that Chairman Wontumi will present himself to the police CID on Monday, which is today. And what our reporter just confirmed to us is that he is there with his lawyers, still undergoing interrogation. He got to the premises around 11 in the morning, and it is a few minutes after 5 p.m., and he is still there. So do stay with us. We would update you subsequently when something new comes up. Meanwhile, let's also pick the thoughts of security analyst Emmanuel Kuting, who has also been following this particular story. Mr. Kuting, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, my brother. Very good evening to your cherished listeners.
Right. What would you say are your impressions about the fact that, following the failed attempt to arrest Chairman Wontumi in the Ashanti region, he told the security operatives that he will come and actually made good his promise, turned himself in, and is currently within the premises of the CID?
Well, I think it will be a very long walk, and I think the future is very pregnant. I think we need to contextualize the issues for the education of our listeners. See, there are two separate issues: an invitation being extended to him, and he said he couldn't attend on the particular date, and the lawyers negotiated for today. That is within the right of every citizen. And the other leg was the search warrant at his home, where he prevented our law enforcement agencies from carrying out their legitimate duties. You see, when you get a search warrant, you are duty bound. Maybe it could be intelligence-led, and they will be in the proper place to indicate why they wanted to search their house at that particular time. But you see, Wontumi resisted, and his popular cry of calling on the NPP members to come to his aid, and that because of them, His Excellency John Mahama is doing this to him. You see, if you are a law-abiding citizen, and law enforcement agencies have their duties to do, just comply. If you feel that you have not done anything wrong, for the fact that you are being invited, or for the fact that an arrest warrant has been placed on your property, doesn't mean you are guilty of any offense. And I was thinking that Wontumi would know better. So for him to prevent law enforcement from carrying out a legitimate duty, and now you have brought yourself before them, I think it will be a very long walk. And you see, we must demystify the assertion that if law enforcement agencies are looking for you on Friday, they want to keep you Monday. The law still permits them to keep Wontumi for 48 hours. They can decide not to charge him now if they are not satisfied with their level of interrogation. And at worst, after the 48 hours, they can go to court and demand that the court remand you in their custody while they continue with investigations. So I will urge all law-abiding citizens that when, at any point in time, law enforcement knocks at your door, it's a duty to be a citizen by responding to them favorably.
There are those who are saying that, for instance, the security agencies, maybe when they do turn up at your house to either invite you or arrest you or maybe search your house, there should be a reason. The public should be made aware of why you are a person of interest. Do you agree with this call? So, for instance, they come up to Mr. Kutin's house and say, maybe, Mr. Kutin, we are inviting you to help us with investigation into a subject matter that you may know about. Should that be made public before the invitation is handed you or the search warrant is carried out?
Not at all. That is why we have the law court. That is why the law court, after weighing the evidence the law enforcement placed before it, decided to grant the search warrant. And you know, in investigation, I think in our part of the world, because we politicize every institution, even on criminal matters, we want to look at political lenses. Look, public office comes with accountability. If you are not ready for accountability, don't go to public office. Do your private work, and no one will be interested in whatever you do or you don't do, unless, of course, you fall foul with the law. And from what we are hearing, some of us cannot say it here. So we don't want it to prejudice the investigation since it's an active one. But how on earth can an active case like this, at this investigative stage, the law enforcement are dealing with the judiciary who kind of granted this search warrant, and we want it to be made public? I think we have to be mindful and educated about some of these practices within the security architecture. I don't think it helps us. I think as good citizens, we need to even help our law enforcement to make their job very easy. And in the instant case of Chairman Wontumi, what is even making his case worse is the politicization of the matter, where you see party people going up and down. There's really nothing they can do. At this point, the security agencies or the law enforcement agencies have the power to do whatever they want to do within the next 48 hours. They can decide not to prefer any charges on him today or tomorrow.
Okay. And
even go to court, like I said earlier, and still get him into their custody to continue with their investigation. So we pray that cool heads will prevail, will put professionalism to bear, and Chairman Wontumi rights are not necessarily violated.
Okay, and finally, before you take leave of us, he reported the CID office around 11 this morning, and we are told as of it's about 20 minutes or so after 5 p.m. Our reporter just confirmed that he is still there. What's your reading into this, and what do you foresee happening?
There are a lot of issues at play, from Galamsey activities to an amount of money that was transferred to his account from Cocoa Board accounts on the 8th of January. So if the investigative bodies are not getting what they are looking for, or Chairman Wontumi is not cooperating, then it will make the work difficult. So the bottom line is the satisfaction of the investigative body that they are satisfied with whatever they are looking for. And if they predetermine that one, he's not going to interfere with the investigation going forward, because now they have put everything before him. So if at the face value of all probability, they feel that if they release him, he could interfere with their investigations, they could play this tactics and eventually put him before the court. These are the dynamics that are playing out at the moment. And I'm happy that there are very seasoned lawyers that are with him, and I'm sure they are giving him the proper legal counsel. And I don't want this matter to take a political turn. You understand?
Right.
We need to build our institutions. We need to grow our democracy. And growing our democracy and institutions is about law enforcement. And what I'm praying is that they shouldn't violate the rights of the gentleman unnecessarily.
Okay. Mr. Kutin, thank you so much for your time this evening. Pleasure talking to you. We've been speaking to security analyst Emmanuel Kutin there, and he's been sharing his thoughts on the current engagement ongoing at the CID headquarters between the NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, who last Friday the security agencies or operatives attempted picking him up, but that did not happen. And as we speak, he's currently with the CID with his lawyers, and we are told that he's still undergoing interrogation. So subsequent bulletins will update you as whether or not he's still there or has been released, and whatever update we get, you definitely also be made aware of. And do follow our various social media handles as well, so you get to know the latest news on this and other big stories happening in Ghana. This is still Hot Edition 3FM 92.7. We're going on to some other stories now, and you would recall earlier today news broke that Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. had been temporarily closed following some fraudulent activities ongoing there by the staff. An audit sanctioned by the Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa revealed a damning finding of diversion of customers from the embassy's official website to private individuals, costing the state millions of dollars. Joining us in studio is Dennis Paberi Wadam Esquire. He has been reading through the specifics of what the sector minister put out on social media. He has details for us. Dennis, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Martin.
Okay, so what else do we know about the closure of Ghana's mission in Washington?
Well, so the foreign minister has been speaking. He has actually been the first to let this out of bag, if I may put it that way, to the effect that the Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. has now been temporarily closed down. There's also been a dismissal of one officer called Mr. Fred Kwating, who was a local staff. This staff, we understand, was recruited somewhere August 11, 2017 to the embassy, and he was in charge of the embassy's IT department. He's allegedly been involved in some dealings that have now found him into trouble. That's to say that, according to the minister, he had actually admitted to having created what they say is an authorized link on the embassy's website, which then diverted passport and then visa applications to a company that he owned. This company in question is called Ghana Travel Consultants, GTC. And there, he charged extra for multiple services on the blind side of the ministry. The ministry says that this is not authorized and that the proceeds that come from this, they are not charges that have been approved by the ministry. And I mean, usually when they are doing these charges and fees, these are charges and fees that are approved by Parliament. He says that the extra that this person charges for those services provided are not fees that have been approved by Parliament, and to that extent, they are deemed illegal. And that investigations also revealed that there were some other collaborators who operated this particular scheme for at least 5 years. According to the minister, this conduct has been reported to the Attorney General. Besides him being fired, there's a possibility that this person or these persons should be prosecuted and the monies also retrieved. There have also been other actions that the ministry has taken, that all the Ministry of Foreign Affairs staff who have been posted to the Washington, D.C., they've been recalled home with immediate effect, that the embassy's IT department itself has been dissolved, and that all locally recruited staff at the embassy have also been suspended. He also goes on to indicate that the Attorney General has been invited to conduct a forensic examination of all transactions to determine the total cost of this elaborate fraudulent scheme, because in their estimation, this cost the state some money. And then finally, that Ghana's embassy in Washington shall be closed for a few days, like you mentioned, as they want to finalize an ongoing restructuring and the systems overhaul. They apologize, and he says that he has the firm support of the President John Dramani Mahama to do what he has done. So basically, that's what is happening in that space, as has been disclosed by the Minister for Foreign Affairs.
Okay. And we also know that some reactions have been coming in. Do we know if the sector minister has said anything else beyond just the statement he put out?
Well, he indicates that there will be more updates, and we are still looking forward to those updates. Not as we are here now, we haven't had any information on those updates.
Okay. Dennis Puaberi-Wedam, thank you so much for those updates from the Foreign Affairs Minister's post regarding the closure of Ghana's mission in Washington, D.C. Ghana has two missions in the United States of America. One is in New York, and the second is in Washington. And they are two very busy missions. So for government to decide to close down a very busy institution that allows and or permits people in and out of Ghana from the United States raises a lot of questions, asking what kind of thinking process went into this final decision to close the mission down, albeit temporarily. We'll try and get further answers to this particular question for you as the bulletin wears on. But the minister indicated, there was a particular gentleman known as Fred Kwarting of the IT department. He is the specific one who has been dismissed, and not just him, but the entirety of the workers there. And also, let's put this particularly in context, some people have been employed in, within the United States to work at the mission. All those people, according to the minister, have also been dismissed or asked to go. Ghanaians who were working in the mission from Ghana have also been recalled to come back or return to the country. So it looks as though a lot is happening very quickly. So we'll try and get you some better understanding on this. But in the meantime, let's bring you another observation that we have made, that the minority in Parliament, or the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, I should say, Nana Asafo-Adjei, has called the move by the minister as hasty and undiplomatic, and stressing that embassies provide more than just consular services. He expressed concern that staff were stripped of diplomatic privileges without formal internal communication, and that declaring them persona non grata publicly could damage Ghana's diplomatic image. He urged for more tact and discretion in handling such sensitive matters, stating that diplomacy demands subtlety, not public showmanship. So let's go to the phone lines now and pick the thoughts of International Relations and Security Analyst Dr. Victor Doke. Doc, good evening, and thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Hello, Martin. Your voice is rather very low.
My voice is low?
I can't really hear you.
It's not clear. Okay. We'll try and see if the connection is better, or maybe I need to reposition myself. But while I do that, let me throw in my first question and see if you can hear me, and then give us an answer to that. And that question will be that, as someone who has watched the diplomatic space, would you say that the decision by government is the best diplomatic response to a fraud scandal?
Oh, thank you very much. With regards to this issue, we are looking at a situation where the information technology aspect run by an individual is compromised. Now, from the time the data or the reports that the minister put out October last year, a lot can happen even in a week when you talk about the IT system in Iran. This is very unfortunate. Now, to even detect now that an embassy has this kind of illegal process going, one, it's very, very unfortunate. Two, it means internal security with regards to the embassy was compromised. And therefore, you need to ascertain how many people were in the known apart from the gentleman, right? So if the reports that have been put out was just a preliminary one, when the minister knows that there are more to it, and then he just wanted to put just a little bit out for an extensive investigation to go on, thereby everybody else is affected. One, we need to understand that Ghana is a founding nation. It can decide to close down or reopen any embassy or an embassy where and when and how it chooses to. With regards to this, we are looking at the security of the embassy, the security data that is very sensitive. Let's not forget, we've had prominent people from this country going to the United States. There has been, correspondence with regards to the embassy office to Ghana and via. What has gone out, or what has the gentleman carried out? Is our security system compromised? Is our information with regards to the embassy compromised? That is what we need to find out. And if it's unfortunate that everybody has to be put aside, but if it means that we are going to ascertain what has gone out, we are talking about the country's sovereignty, the security aspect. And an embassy represents a country in itself, in any other country you find yourself. Okay? So we need to ascertain what really went on, and if it means that everybody has to go. And that is why I come back to the issue that when it comes to the aspect of national security, it is very paramount. And to the extent that we have to go to ascertain whether our national security is compromised, we would have to take it.
And what would you say about the way the information in itself was given? I mean, I think the entirety of the country woke up to the post, just the single post of the minister. And many are asking, like you're also asking, whether or not maybe the gentleman in question has already been picked up or he's just been let go, considering the fact that lots of information and sensitive data passed through his hands. So the general handling of the situation itself has come up for question. How does that sit with you?
Well, I think I agree with what other people are saying. The handling, the information dissemination was what needs to be looked at in the future. You would expect that a more, very formal info output will be communicated to Ghanaians and not through a social media post. What even from that time till now, we haven't had any formal. Yes, it's a social media post. It can be taken into consideration, but we need a more formal, communication from the said minister, and then an update from that time to now. Hours have passed. What has gone wrong with regards to preliminary investigations? What has he got? Yes, we are not asking him to come and put every detail out in the public, but then an update means you can tell us if you are step one or step two, what has gone into it so far, who else is involved, are people going to go back, or everybody will be affected? We need to look at all those things. I think we need to look at how we disseminate information so as not to, cause unnecessary pensions and all of that.
Right, and there's also this bit about the United States having to be involved. Would you advise, for instance, that maybe we get U.S. services involved, security services that is, or investigative agencies in the U.S. involved in this, since it is directly on their land?
We choose to. We choose to. It is not a must, but we just choose to. It only comes into question when and if a U.S. citizen is involved in the illegality, where you can ask for an assistance with regards to that person through the agencies of the United States. But other than that, you choose to. For example, if this gentleman lives in a country permanently, then you need to probably effect an arrest or whatever. Who does that? You need to involve the authorities in there. So yes, there is going to be some kind of collaboration and all of that in trying to understand what really went on. You need to do an extensive network in regards to trying to find out those who were involved. So I think, yes, at some point, they may need to involve the authorities or agencies in the host nation. But by and large, it all depends on the minister and the authorities, whether it really necessitates. The investigations and the outcomes also will determine whether it's really necessary. The aspect of the individual or individuals involved, if found culpable, and their willingness to cooperate would also mean that you would not need to involve the authorities in there. If there's resistance from their part, there's information not coming in, then be rest assured that authorities can now relay to the authorities in the U.S. for assistance to arrest these persons. So yes, just like how we have Interpol, we relay information, for example, to Interpol agencies in other countries for collaboration on arrest. We can also do the same. So it's as and when necessary.
Okay. I know you've indulged us, but maybe the last question before you take leave of us. The minority, for instance, the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee in Parliament, say that the mission in Washington does not only issue or manage consular services, but they do more than that. So a strict decision to close down the embassy could have further implications than what we are assuming. How does that sit with you? And is it possible that this could have some diplomatic friction between us and maybe people from other countries that may have wanted to go through the Washington mission?
I don't think it would have any major, I use the major consequences. The minor ones are, for example, you need to still keep up your political day. You need to monitor, pick up intelligence. You need to engage. So these ones will be interrupted temporarily. As to when, we don't know. And that's why I will entreat that investigations and the process should be sped up as much as possible for the embassy to be reopened. But by and large, all those people that want to go through may somewhat be directed to use the other consulates in other states. But with regards to the Washington enclave, then it means you would have a limited aspect of information flow. The political space you need to monitor. You need to monitor the security, aspect also relay information. So, for example, if you have a prominent figure, coming to Ghana, you will have to relay, and that channel has been broken. On the diplomatic front, it hasn't really caused any uproar. We all know the aspect when it comes to fighting corruption, transparency, and accountability. Every country has its own issues. So, if a country has decided that it's closing its mission temporarily because of A, B, and C, that lies in the country. Communiques would have been issued to the various authorities that heavily depend on bilateral relations with the Washington office, and they would have been in the known. So then, if they want to, engage, then they would have to find out different channels.
Right.
So let's just hope as quickly as possible issues will be resolved, go through are exonerated would what? Find a way back, and then those who are found guilty would be made to face the law.
Right. We are grateful for your time this evening. Thank you so much for speaking to us. You heard the voice and thoughts of Dr. Victor Doka, who is an international relations and security analyst, on Ghana's decision to close down its Washington mission, where we are told by the Foreign Affairs Minister that some fraudulent activities had taken place over a long period of time, at least for the last 5 years. One, Fred Kwarteng of the IT department had been undertaking some very shady moves, on the back of which he particularly has been dismissed, and then also a number of staff who've been working there. So on the back of this development, Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. has been closed temporarily. Better and further information we all await from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and when we do get that, we'll definitely put it out to you as well. But what do you make of this development? When the news broke, I personally saw a number of you reacting to it, saying that it is not just the mission in Washington, but then elsewhere around the world, Ghana's offices charge some exorbitant fees when it comes to application for visas, and then also some of you have outlined challenges you face when you try and get some assistance from our missions abroad. So do let us know in the comment section. Do you know anybody that works there? What information do you also have? Do share it with us on our Facebook page, and then also our various social media platforms, including X, and we will be happy to share it with the rest of the world. This is still 3FM 92.7. It's Hot Edition, and we have some news coming in regarding the invitation of the NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman Wontumi, as many know him. He has been charged formally. We'll try and speak to our correspondent who's following this story for us in a moment, so you can also get to know what exactly it is. But you know that he had been at the premises of the CID since morning, around 11, and as of yet, we've been told that he's just been granted bail. When we do connect with our correspondent, we'll get the details. But the charge we do know of currently is that he's been charged with mining without authorization. You know that he owns a mining firm, which is Akunta Mining, which has been in the news for, well, not all, for all the wrong reasons, and for which reason the security agencies thought it wise to invite him. And when we do get that connection, we'll update you shortly. And when he came out of the offices after several hours of interrogation, he was there with his lawyers. He spoke to the media that had gathered there. Let's listen to what exactly the NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman has been saying after he was released. Well, I think we'll just have to restart what exactly Chairman Wontumi has been saying. So let's listen into what Chairman Wontumi is saying.
Forest. And also my catcher on say Anyamia. Then conquer Duma our forest here. I so more evidence. I will bet me at the Ashed. Now maybe may apply lances for her. And so Forestry Commission and then Lands Commission and then Mines Commission. Omo yes say omo the Honama Forestry Commission for so omo shaho. Into omo and a year custodian, almost responsible, almost share a hop and call her down. This will be a Juma or Hornia, and Yemi Dim, and Yemi, and Mumu, Anna, Iwi, Omo, Emma, Bill, two sureties, Anna, Cecilia, Yama Bill, Cecilia.
How much is the bill?
ɛnyɛ ne nyinaa na bɛtumi aka no sisi a ayɛ yɛama me bill 2 sureties ayɛ
Almost about Cocoa Board, any company, Hallmark, dealings with.
No. Cocoa Board. Ɛnyɛ no preda sama je Cocoa Board for sika. Obia no so wo kɔ no akwakoye road a anya ban na mauska. Ayɛ wo mum na wodi usika ebekɔ contractor no. Wo na wodi usika bekɔ na wodi akwakoye road. Ubia na highways for the Cocoa Board for no. Omo de omo engineers about value. Ayɛ road na awayɛ no. Na omo de boa rate omo de ma wo no omo de atoso e free BB certificate no ma raise me ne Cocoa Board for contracts na wo mu say 28 days they should pay me but ye raise we no it take about 3 years ansa na omo tua me ka so Cocoa Board cannot tell me say na omo ni wuntu ka obia no so obeye ketu obeye kesi o na mpa so obia no kwakoye adwuma de me dream say adwuma nya de a
And that is Chairman Wontumi, the NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman. Few minutes after he came out of the police CID office with his lawyers and supporters around him, has spoken to the media and shortly has just been talking about some of the key issues that came up that he was accused of working in the forest, which he says he denied. Well, let's get the specific details from our reporter, Beatrice Ajoko-Sowa, who has been following this for us. Beatrice, thank you again for joining us. So finally, Chairman Wontumi is out. We heard him speak a few minutes ago. Give us a wrap of what exactly his point was. Hello, Beatrice, can you hear me? We seem not to have Beatrice on the line, but she has been following. She's actually still at the CID headquarters where the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman has been meeting with CID officers. And he came out a few minutes ago. And what we do know, per the audio that Chairman Wontumi we just brought to you, he's saying that he's been given bail, has been granted bail with 2 sureties. Of an unspecified amount. So the amount we are yet to get specifically, and then we'll bring that to you, one. And then secondly, he's supposed to have 2 sureties. Those who are bailing him must have 2 sureties. So we would update you on that as well. And went on to touch briefly on the other speculation of why he may have been invited by the CID having to do with his dealings with Cocoa Board. But I think we have a clearer connection to Beatrice. Now, Beatrice, if you can hear me, I was asking that Chairman Wontumi just spoke. Give us a summary of what exactly he was saying.
Okay, he's been granted bail after 8 hours of interrogation. And speaking to him, he said he denied having any involvement with the concession mining company that he was accused of. And he mentioned that he has been granted the bail with 2 sureties. Yes. So far, this is what we can report from the...
Is he expected to come back to the police CID? What else is he supposed to do beyond the granting of bail? Do you know?
No, at this moment, I can't confirm if he's to report again to the CID.
Do we know the amount of bail that he's been granted?
It's an undisclosed amount at the moment, yes.
All right, Beatrice, thank you for that report. Beatrice Ajoko-Sowa is our reporter who joined us from the police CID headquarters, where Chairman Wontumi has just been released after almost 8 hours of interrogation between him and the CID officers. And he says that, like our reporter just indicated, he's been granted bail of an undisclosed amount with 2 sureties, and then also denies involvement in mining in the forest reserve, and says that a company that has been undertaking, quote unquote, some illegal activities in mining that has been attributed to him, he says he has no knowledge of that company as well. As the minutes wear on, we'll try and get some specific concrete details of this particular release and update you on it. This is still 3FM 92.7. Let's go to the courts now, because a lot has been happening there. So we woke up earlier today following the fact that Professor Ameyawe has had to go back to the court because the last agenda date was today that he was to reappear. Now, former board chairman of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, Professor Ameyawe has been granted bail by an Accra High Court in a sum of 10 million Ghana cedis with 2 sureties, both required to provide landed properties in Accra as justification. The bail follows a vigorous application by his legal team during court proceedings. Professor Ameyawe is facing 4 charges related to the controversial SkyTrain project, which involved $2 million payment for a proposed urban rail system that was never executed. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges, including willfully causing financial loss to the state and intentionally misusing public funds. As part of his bail conditions, the court has ordered him to surrender his travel documents, including his passport, to the court registry. Let's get some details on this. Our colleague Lord Eduasare has been following this. He's joined us a few minutes after returning from court. Lord, thank you for joining us to start with. So what exactly else is we know that 4 charges have been slapped on Professor Ameyawe, but walk us through what exactly happened in court today.
Right, Martin. So you'd recall that this is the 3rd time that the proceedings have been called, but this is the first time that the former minister has appeared. The other 2 sitters he missed because, according to his lawyers, he had been admitted for medical reasons, right? So he was in hospital. Well, today we realized that he was wheeled into court in a wheelchair. He was calm and composed, but he was, I should say, relaxed, right? And they took his plea. He pleaded not guilty to all the charges proffered against him. You outlined that earlier, causing financial loss to the states, intentionally dissipating public funds, and then conspiracy to commit crime. The first accused person, the ex-CEO of GIIF, Solomon Asamoah, his plea has already been taken, and he is currently on a 15 million cedi bail. But Martin, Solomon is yet to meet his bail conditions, and so as of the time that he was granted a bail, he still remains in the custody of the National Intelligence Bureau, awaiting to meet those bail conditions. Now, the lawyers of Professor Ameyawe, led by Aaron Duke, Sasu, indicated that the 80-year-old former minister, despite the fact that he's aged or is aging, has been cooperating religiously with the investigators. He indicated that in some instances, he undergoes over 6 hours of interrogations, and despite this, he still comes. And so he was praying the courts to grant him bail because it's evident that he's not flight risk. He's going to make himself available and all that. And so the court, presided over by Justice Comfort Tasiame, granted him the bail. The prosecution led by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai, he did not oppose that bill application or the motion for the bill, except to add that they should vary the conditions because, as far as Solomon is concerned, Solomon was given to report to the investigators 3 times a week, but he wanted for Ameyawe to be just one, considering his condition and all that. And one thing we also noticed, Martin, was that there was a presence of former statesman S.K. Boafo. There was also the presence of MP for Teshiman South, Martin Asiedu-Darteh, and then former member of parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Ejapon. Now, from our checks, we learned that Kennedy Ejapon is stepping in as one of the sureties of Professor Ameyawe. So that was established after the hearings. And so that basically transpired as far as Professor Ekunfi's case is concerned. But Martin, there was also the case of the former Signals Bureau, Kwabena Adu Boahene. You know that the last time we were in court, his lawyer, led by Samuel Atacha, indicated that he had been picked up right after he was granted a bail for a different matter regarding the Ghana Water Company. Now, today when the case was called, however, the main business of the day was supposed to be a case management conference, right? And the prosecution had been directed by the courts to file their disclosures. Now, Dr. Justice Ramsay, he again led the prosecution today. He notified the court that he hadn't been able to file those disclosures because the investigator who should have signed was indisposed, and so he prayed for additional time. That was not opposed. But then, Martin, interestingly, we saw some movement even before the case could go on. We saw Samuel Atacha and then the Deputy Attorney General, they stepped out of the courtroom to have some conversation. And then later on, when the case was called, they had a sidebar private meeting with the judge. They actually approached the judge and they had a meeting of some sort for a while. Now, after which the judge came to order that they should file their disclosures by June 2nd, Martin. Now, right after making this order, Justice Asiedu-Darteh also added that the defense lawyers, the lawyers for Kwabena Adu Boahene, his wife, and the third accused person, should only engage the prosecution in any plea bargain arrangements. Okay. Only after the prosecution has filed all the disclosures. Now, we could not really understand the context of this because prior to this, there hadn't been any conversation about plea bargaining, right? Yeah. And so we asked the lawyer for Kwabena Adu Boahene, Samuel Atacha, and he gave us some context to it. We can listen to him.
He's very free.
Okay.
He's been admitted to bail.
Okay.
So we are going on the main case.
Okay.
Always be done premise on the papers filed. I do not think that is the way that we are going.
So as instance now, you have not made any offer whatsoever?
We've never made any overtures at all.
Do you consider that?
No. There's nothing on the table for us to plea bargain.
What do you make of the delay of the prosecution in filing their disclosures as of now?
I'm not too sure. Maybe the issue will be with the Attorney General. Let's give him the space to prosecute the case. And let's respect the fact that if an Attorney General wants an adjournment, then we shouldn't challenge it.
Right, Martin, so you heard Samuel Atacha, we categorically asked them whether the defense were considering a plea bargain for Kwabena Adu Boahene and then the other accused persons because of what the judge had noted, whether there was any implication of that matter. And then he was categorical. He said they're not considering anything, but the judge was simply stating all the viable options to them. And so, Martin, that's what it says as far as Adu Boahene is concerned.
Yeah, so it means Adu Boahene has also been granted bail?
He has already been granted bail. You realize that he was on a bail, and immediately that he was granted a bail, he was rearrested for the charges on the a separate matter that has to do with the Ghana Water Company. Mm-hmm. He has again been granted bail on that. We are yet to get the full details of the bail conditions, and that it was the reason why he, together with his wife, they came in court today, and then they left to the house because he drove to the court himself.
Okay, so as we speak, the former Signals Bureau Director is on bail, not in the custody of Iyoko as he has been for some time.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you very much, Lord Eduasari, updating us with what transpired here in Accra from the courts. Two big issues that we've been following for you. One having to do with Professor Amare Kumfi, which is in relation to the $2 million SkyTrain project that did not happen, but payment was made. He is also on bail, 10 million Ghana cedi bail with two sureties. And like you just heard, the former Signals Bureau boss has also been granted bail on two separate charges that were leveled against him. He was granted bail earlier and rearrested on a separate matter. That also, he's been granted bail. So a lot is happening when it has to do with the courts here in Accra, and subsequent bulletins will update you as and when we do get further information. Still on issues about the courts, though, we know that some activities have also been happening in the Ashanti region because the Kumasi High Court has acquitted former President Akufo-Addo's nominee for the Juabeng municipal chief executive position, which happened in 2021. Now, he was charged on bribery allegations case that was made against him by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Alexander Kwabena Adu was caught on a video allegedly demanding a refund of monies he gifted to assembly members to endorse his nomination as MCE. Now, he lost that nomination, and in the video, he was exchanging words with people presumed to have taken the money from him, which he was asking for them to return. Let's listen to Ibrahim Abubakar, our correspondent, who's been following this for us in the court from the Ashanti region.
After failing to get 2/3 of vote to secure his nomination as a Juabeng MCE, visibly angry Alexander Asafo Kantanka was seen in a viral video demanding a refund of money he has given to some of the members. Based on the viral video, the OSP charged him with 26 counts of election-related corruption. He first appeared before a Kumasi High Court on June 1, 2022. On April 9, 2024, the High Court partially dismissed an application by the accused on a submission of no case of answer. The court determined that the prosecution had established a prima facie case on 3 of the charges and accordingly directed the accused to open his defense on those counts. The accused subsequently presented his testimony and underwent cross-examination. Judgment was initially set for November 28, 2024, but the trial judge, Justice Priscilla Dikro-Ofori, was transferred. However, because she had already submitted a case completion plan before a transfer, she returned to give the ruling on Monday, May 26, 2025. The court acquitted and discharged the accused on the grounds that the prosecution failed to prove that the money he was demanding for in the viral video was linked to the allegations made against him. Kwabena Adu Boahene is the counsel for the accused.
At the end of the full trial, our case has been sustained by the court as reasonable probable, for which reason my client has been acquitted and discharged. There is no other damage control than a judgment of a court of competent jurisdiction saying that you are alleged to have done ABCD, but haven't gone through full trial, and the court of competent, like a high court, saying that no, you are not what you were alleged to be.
After almost 3 years of legal battle, Alexander Asafo Kantanka is now a free man. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi High Court.
And that's a report about the court case involving Alexander Kwabena Adu Boahene. And so if you go to our website, 3news.com, you get details of this particular story and all the big ones we've brought to you so far. In a moment, we'll be turning our attention to what's happening in the world of business when the team does join us. So do stay with us. We'll bring you details of business, news, and sports, as well as all the media stories happening in the country. Stay with us.
It's a new year, and Bill's microcredit
Hello, good evening and welcome to the Business News on Hot Edition with me, Christabel Success Treve. Coming up, Association of Ghana Industries urges government to boost renewable energy adoption as national electricity peak demand nears installed capacity. This and other stories lined up for you. Please stay with us. Now the details. The Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, is calling on government to implement measures that will encourage industries to invest in renewable energy, particularly solar power, to supplement the national grid supply. AGI Chief Executive Seth Chum Akwabwa emphasized the need for industries to adopt renewable energy to avert potential crisis, given that the country's peak demand is fast approaching installed capacity. Currently, renewables contribute a mere 0.8% to Ghana's energy mix, with installed generation capacity standing at 5,260 megawatts and dependable capacity at 4,856 megawatts as of December 2024.
Years ago, when we had the crisis, we had the energy crisis, the thought of it was that let's help to get households to use renewable energy, because we thought that was relatively easier because of the expensive nature of renewable energy. But with time, technology has advanced and it's gotten to a point where commercial users of renewable energy like solar have also become very relevant. Demand for energy has grown. We are currently almost at par with supply. So there's no excess capacity. So it means that in the next 5 years or so, we have to grow our energy generation. The new growth area is renewable energy. So that's why we are focusing on it, encouraging companies to go renewable as they combine with the grid. We know that you cannot use the renewable alone for everything. So we've looked at areas like administrative functions, light machines. You can all use renewable for it.
Well, you just heard the AGI Chief Executive Seth Chum Akwabwa. Mobile phone-based financial transactions, widely known as mobile money, are proving to be a transformative force for national development, particularly in countries like Ghana. Recent data by the Ghana Statistical Service from the 2021 Population and Housing Census highlights the significant adoption and crucial role of these services in fostering economic growth and financial inclusion.
According to the 2021 Population and Housing Census, 48.8% of Ghana's population aged 6 and above utilized mobile phones for financial transactions within the 3 months prior to the census. Usage was slightly higher among males at 50.6% compared to females at 47.2%, though a larger proportion of females, representing 92.9%, reported using mobile money exclusively for financial transactions than males, representing 90.9%. Mobile banking expands access to banking services for underserved population, particularly in rural areas, reducing the number of unbanked individuals and empowering marginalized groups. Mobile transactions facilitates daily business for small and informal enterprises, promoting entrepreneurship through easier access to credit and stimulating SME growth. These platforms drive innovation in fintech, e-commerce, and digital trade, fostering new industries and enhancing international competitiveness. Despite these widespread benefits, challenges such as digital and financial literacy gaps, cybersecurity risks, and regulatory deficiencies persist. To fully harness the potential of mobile financial services, national development strategies must prioritize investments in digital infrastructure, cybersecurity measures, public education, and inclusive policy frameworks. Now, Databank research has projected a significant improvement in Ghana's fiscal position, with the budget deficit expected to narrow to 4 to 6% of GDP by the first half of 2025. The research firm believes that the implementation of the Commitment, Control and Compliance League Table for metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies will enforce fiscal discipline and support tighter deficit targets. The following report has more.
According to Databank research, Ghana's fiscal outlook is set to improve, driven by a strong start in revenue mobilization, targeted capital expenditure cuts, and enhanced International Monetary Fund financing. The anticipated $370 million disbursement from the IMF is expected to play a key role in supporting the country's fiscal position. Additionally, Ghana's short-term external outlook remains favorable, supported by a sustained current account surplus and improved reserves buffers. Databank research projects gross international reserves to exceed 10 billion Ghana cedis by mid-year, driven by strong gold, cash crops, and remittance inflow. The country's external activity remains resilient, underpinned by expanding trade agreements with key partners.
Well, that was a 3 business desk report on Ghana's fiscal deficit to narrow to 4 to 6% of GDP by mid-2025, according to a Databank research. Well, that will be all. For more business stories, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Christabel Success-Treve. Enjoy the rest of our programs.
Journey of Pan-Africanism and consciousness. It is your regular taxi driver with the urban blend and 3FM 92.7 in living stereo every day, Monday to Friday from 12:30 p.m. till 3 p.m. This is the show everybody listens to, so your business will certainly do well here. My name, Black Rasta. I am the rootical, hairtical, Don Gargan, Mua Fire.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment on Hot Edition on TFM 92.7 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We'll be starting off from the camp of the Black Stars, who have released their squad for the upcoming Unity Cup in the United Kingdom, with the camp set to open this weekend. The match itself will be against Nigeria on Wednesday, and there's a very huge game for Otoado's Ghana side. The tournament brings together African and Caribbean footballing nations in London, and it will see Ghana face Nigeria and Jamaica, and we'll also be facing Trinidad and Tobago in the other semi-final. Now let's hear from General Manager of Media General Sports, Michael T, who is currently based in London, and he provides us with the latest update.
So it's a nice bright day in London. The Black Stars have been arriving in batches throughout the day. We've seen Lawrence Atizigi come in. We've seen Brandon Thomas Asante arrive a bit earlier. We've seen a lot of the players coming, a lot of the players in the squad released by Otoado earlier this morning. Essentially, this is what's happened. Off the back of the end of the season, the Black Stars will be without a lot of key players for the game that they will play against Nigeria. There is no Kudus Mohamed, there is no Kamadin Suleimana, there is no Thomas Partey, there is no Antoine Semenyo, there is no Inaki Williams. And from the small checks that I did, this is basically because some of the players asked for permission to stay away, and that all of this has been done with the express understanding of the team, with the players having gone through this long, dragging, complicated season. What is definitely though is that Coach Otoado wants to use this game to give a lot of other players the opportunity. Take the former West Ham goalkeeper Joseph Annan, who plays for St. Patrick Thistle, for instance. He's one of the new players who have come in. Brandon Thomas Asante has not had this opportunity for a while. A player like Salis Mohammed may have been celebrating Premier League qualification with Sunderland over the weekend, but he's barely played. So there are a lot of players who have come into the squad named by Otoado who will fancy a chance to make a case for themselves. And I think that maybe will be the main thing. When Otoado addressed a press conference earlier today, he didn't want to get into the details of why the players were absent and all that. He said he wanted to focus on the ones here. And I think the whole of the Ghana Football Association, followers of the Black Stars, particularly bearing in mind that September will be a crucial month for World Cup qualifiers and the rest, will hope that there will be signs from these players that even in the absence of a lot of those key players, they are prepared to step in and deliver the goods and deliver them efficiently.
So that was Michael Etieje, who is the General Manager for Media General Sports, reporting from London and the United Kingdom ahead of Ghana's opening match in the Unity Cup against Nigeria on Wednesday. Still on that game, as we build up, Black Stars head coach Otoado believes that this is the ideal time to give opportunities to players who have been on their radar for the past few months. The former Ghana winger has included 5 debutants in his squad for the Unity Cup, whilst Kamaldeen Suleimana and his Nyama, Antoine Semenyo, Mohamed Kudus and Thomas Partey are among those left out due to minor knocks and injury setbacks.
For us, it's like I said, it's a good test, and it's for our confidence will be good for the upcoming games. And for us, we really need to know. We have so many open questions on players, and I'm happy to give also some new and young players some possibilities to play and to show what they can. And surely after this tournament, some question will be answered. And yeah, for us also, we have a big community here in England. It's very, very important for us also for them to see and feel the players. And so for us, it's a very, very good opportunity to play in this, participate in this tournament.
Well, that was head coach of the Black Stars, Otoado, speaking ahead of the game. We still stay with Otoado because beyond the young players who've been called, the head coach also says that he's confident his side are well prepared to face Nigeria on Wednesday, and it would also be a very good match to be able to test the team strength. Remember, ahead of the World Cup qualifiers later in September this year.
We are using this opportunity to do further tests, to test our players, to see our players on a very, very high level. And we're happy that we are getting this opportunity, and for us it's surely a good test for the upcoming World Cup qualifying games in September.
That was head coach of the Black Stars, Otto Addo. But we still stay with the Black Stars because with several key players such as Mohamed Kudus, Antoine Semenyo, Thomas Partey, Alexander Djiku and others set to miss the tournament, my colleague Billy Shen assesses the potential impact of their absence on Ghana's prospects.
I think this seemingly overhauled Black Stars squad was quite expected, especially looking at the time frame where a number of players ended their seasons, especially in the Premier League, in the Serie A, and other big leagues in Europe. But it does give an opportunity for Tuadu to sort of extend or expand his talent pool. The new faces like Caleb Uechi, Abdul Aziz Issa, and the rest can stake a very strong claim, especially for the World Cup qualifiers, which will be coming up somewhere later in 2025. And so it's just, one of those things that give people the opportunity to sort of make their claim, express themselves, and show that they do have enough quality to feature for the Black Stars in the future. So I think it's just a good way for people to just test themselves, and it's a good way for Eduardo to also test different sort of strategies and tactics, against opponents, because I think there are different sets of players with new skill sets that he has to work with.
Well, that was my colleague Billy Shen. Let's now move to Europe, specifically Spain, where Real Madrid have officially unveiled Xabi Alonso as their new manager effective June 1st, 2025 to June 30, 2028. The Spanish tactician will succeed Carlo Ancelotti, who has departed to take helm of the Brazilian national team. Alonso, a legendary figure in Real Madrid's history and world football, played 236 official matches for the Spanish Giants between 2009 and 2014, scoring 6 goals and providing 31 assists. As a new coach, his first task is to lead the team at the Club World Cup this summer. For more perspective on what to expect, let's hear from Spanish journalist Beyond Mars.
That's a big blow on the one side because Xabi Alonso brought a totally different mentality to the club. They were always the runners-up of the league, and so with the first championship last year, there was a totally new mindset also in the whole club, so it will be a blow. On the one hand, it's a big blow because Xabi Alonso brought a lot of new mentality to the club. We were always the runners-up of the league, the all-time second, and with him, there's a winner mentality was brought to the club, and so you saw totally change in the mindset, not only on players, also on the staff and everybody around. But on the other hand, it's not such a big blow because we thought last year he will go at the end of the season, and he stayed one more year. So I think the club's prepared for that, and I'm looking forward for then the new manager.
Well, that was Beyond Mars, who is a Spanish-based journalist who focuses a lot on South American and then Spanish football. Now, before we go, let's shift our focus to tennis, where Carlos Alcaraz powered into the French Open second round on Monday with a resounding win to start his title defense, while three-time defending women's champion Iga Swiatek also eased through at Roland Garros. Four-time Grand Slam champion Alcaraz struck 31 winners in a 6-3, 6-4, 6-2 victory over Italian qualifier Giulio Zappari, and will face Hungary's Fabian Marozsan in round 2 of the competition. Alcaraz is now on an 8-match winning streak at French Open, having taken Olympic silver at Roland Garros last year, losing the final to Novak Djokovic. And so that's the note on which we'll be wrapping up our sports segment here on Hot Edition. My name is Obe Kwampofo, and the program continues right after this.
Early every weekday because of you, to keep you on top of your game. Yeah!
You are at the center of our universe. That's why we make it a duty to serve you only the freshest, hottest news and entertainment. When you want it, where you want it.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show on 3FM 92.7 with me, Johnny Hughes, Helena Piampofo. Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. Just gone by was the latest in the world of business and sports. So we are just about wrapping up and looking at some of the big stories that we have for you today. In case you missed out, just a quick recap of the stories that have been making headlines. The first having to do with the fact that the NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman Wontumi, has been granted bail of some unknown amount, of an undisclosed amount, with two sureties. He was released a few minutes ago from the CID head office, where he has been for well over 8 hours. Also, Professor Ameya Kumfi, who was the board chair of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, GIIF, has also been granted bail, 10 million Ghana cedis with two sureties. And his is in relation to the $2 million Sky Train that did not materialize. The payment was done, but it did not materialize. So he has also been granted bail and is expected back in court shortly. And then also, Ghana's embassy in the United States of America's capital, Washington, D.C., has been closed down temporarily following some fraud activities that plagued the embassy. So the Foreign Affairs Minister, a few minutes earlier today, released a statement saying that the embassy was being closed down and all workers in the embassy are being asked to return to Ghana, and then all people who had been engaged to work in the embassy have also been sacked. So it's a fluid issue. We've had different opinions on it. Your opinion is also very important, so do let us hear it on 3FM 92.7. To some other stories this evening, the Ghana Cocoa Board is to undertake a full-scale payroll audit in a bid to uncover inefficiencies and restore financial discipline across its operations. Chief Executive Officer Dr. Ransford Annette Abbey, during an interview on TV3's Hot Issues, noted that the payroll review forms part of a broader reform agenda that includes auditing stockpiled jute sacks and collaborating with National Investigations Bureau.
Has on its payroll in excess of 10,000 people. Our staff cost is between $160 and $170 million every month. You understand? Mm-hmm. We're going to do a staff audit to ascertain whether we're all human beings or there are some people from another planet with us. You know, we need to establish that. But of course, if you have to spend about $12 million as your staff cost, that's quite, heavy, and we need to look at all those things. But there were decisions that were made that we need to look at. But a lot has to do with procurement, for example. Look at the things that I've told you about. Yeah. The jute sacks situation, for example. How on earth do you continue on a yearly basis spend over $40 million on sacks that you don't need? The sacks come in, you're unable to clear them, or you willfully decide not to clear them, and yet you keep procuring to the extent that even when over a 3-year period you are not cleared 110,000 bills. You still go and sign a contract for 80,000 more bills, and in December of 2024, issue an irrevocable letter of credit for $48 million. I mean, what kind of thing is that? And I'm very mindful of the adjectives I use to describe some of these things.
And that is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abbey. And Dr. Abbey says that the organization currently has a staff strength of over 10,000 with a staggering monthly wage bill of approximately $12 million. He questioned the integrity of the payroll system, hinting at the possibility of ghost names and other irregularities, for which reason he says a payroll audit will be undertaken in due time. Well, on the back of that, we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you so much for listening. It's been live from our studio here at Adesanwe Kanda, Accra. This has been Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Martin Asiedu-Darteh. Do have a good evening. Join me and Portia Gabor on TV3 at 7 o'clock for News 360. Bye for now.